Hi, I'm Kermin.
Hi, I'm Vivian.
So, in today's episode, we'll be having Vivian here, who is a practicing lawyer for her 6th year already, to discuss on the topic of how has it been like being a lawyer. So, as an introduction, could you give us a brief overview of how on your path of becoming a lawyer?
I did my A-levels and then I went on to do a training program with Taylor's Law School. So I went to University of Reading for my 3rd year. And then after that, I returned to Malaysia to do the Certificate of Legal Practice. And I then embarked on my pupillage in Screen. After my 9 months of pupillage, I went on to a boutique firm called Malaysian Awards. I practiced there for 1 year, assisting counsel work. Thereafter, I went on to Mrs. Daniel and Wong. I was there for 4 years. I did commercial corporate litigation. And then I am now at Nick Hussein and Partner doing the same thing. It's been about 6 years, as you correctly pointed out, in practice.
I guess, as with the purpose of this interview, my second question would be wanted to ask is like, so after studying your A-levels, then your 3 years in your LL.B, and then your bar, and then your pupillage, how did it felt when you were called to the bar in the day itself?
I remember it was a very momentous occasion. I was very fortunate to be called before a High Court judge that allowed all the parents to actually enter her chambers, and she was very, very kind in greeting each and every one of our parents. So my parents were absolutely elated to be there in the judge's chamber and finally see me get called to the bar, being robed, and my name pronounced as an advocate and solicitor. It was wonderful. All the hard work, all the long nights, burning the midnight oil, the hours and hours in the library. It was finally it came to fruition that I was finally a lawyer. So yeah, it was great. It was great. It's a great feeling.
So, and after being called to the bar, like, did you pause or did you retain or did you?
So I chambered in Screen for 9 months and I left Screen. I took a break of a month and then joined Mrs. Malaysia's thereafter. The reason why I wanted to take a break was because, as all pupillages experiences, it was long hours. It was a tough journey, a tough 9 months. So I needed that break to actually just recalibrate and just rest and prepare myself for practice as a first-year lawyer. So I would recommend taking a break after pupillage, definitely.
Are your parents and the people around you proud of who you become?
Okay, so that would be subjective, I think. I hope so. I hope they are proud of me. And in fact, I actually had a lot of weird ambitions in the past. I wanted to be a policewoman, I wanted to be a fashion designer, I wanted to be an architect because I love drawing houses. I love drawing to begin with. So law was something that I eventually embarked on because I realized that I really enjoy reading and I really enjoy writing. I love the language, I love the use and the creative use of language. So I felt that was my forte, and why not go into something that I'm good at. Of course, I'm not like fantastic at it, I'm still learning, but it was something that was my strength and I built on it. I enjoyed reading the law in law school. I enjoyed learning about the different areas and how it applied to our daily lives and the human element to it. I felt like, hey, maybe I can see myself building a career out of this law world, as so to speak, in law school. The little steps or the little milestones that we all go through in law school and then go on to your pupillage and just keep going, and I suppose that will lead you somewhere. And it has definitely led me somewhere today.
Following on from, like, because you said you found passion reading the law, so how did you find the transition from a student who studies the law to a practitioner who practices the law?
Okay, I would say that what you learn in law school, what you read in the law textbooks, definitely very different from what you are going to experience in practice itself. It's definitely not like Suits, like what you see on TV. It's not like, you just go and take a piece of paper and go to court. No, it's not like that, definitely, because in real life you actually have bundles and bundles of documents. You really have to prepare, and you really have to know your case and know the law as well. And the hours and hours spent, maybe you yourself as a lawyer, you will need to be the one bundling and photocopying because there's an urgent case the next day and no one is around in the office, your support staff has gone home. What you need to do is you just need to put things together, and sometimes you are the one, even though you're a 10-year lawyer, you would have to be in the office doing that photocopying and bundling sometimes. So the reality of the matter, what you see on TV or what you learn in law school, it's different when it comes to the practical side. Of course, these are the elements. Of course, there's so many examples I can give you. For example, like company law that you study in university is a little bit different from what the company of 2016 in Malaysia. Perhaps the general principles are the same, but jurisprudence may differ a little bit. So these are the things that you will pick up as you go along in practice. Not 100% that you study in law school, in the textbooks will be applicable in Malaysia, especially Malaysian jurisprudence. There's of course very other new things to learn. Yeah, as regards the legal knowledge, so to speak.
Sounds tough.
No, not at all. Don't worry. I know it's big words and it seems like an insurmountable task to actually get there, but that's how I felt as well when I was a law student. I didn't know what it would take to get me there as a lawyer. You just take the little steps every day. You just take the little steps to learn new things, and eventually you will have this vast amount of knowledge that you didn't realize. When you look back, you're like, hey, after all these years, I now know a little bit of things, and you then build on that knowledge and you keep building and keep learning. I guess what I'm trying to say is the legal profession is you will never get bored, you will never feel mundane because there's always something new to learn every day.
Speaking of the little things, how does a day at work sounds like then? Day?
It depends on what kind of area of law you want to practice in. If it is criminal law, I would not be able to give an accurate depiction. But I believe criminal lawyers, they don't deal with a lot of documents, not as much as the civil practitioners where they have bundles of contracts or agreements or documents to go through. Criminal lawyers are more, they will argue on the facts of the case and the charge read out in court, which means the charge that was put forth by the prosecution. How their activities will be like is they will just be in court, and most of the morning you will see them in court. And well, for civil practitioners like me, I think a typical day would be going to office and working on the cases that are there. Either they are going to court or they're settling out of court. Either you are negotiating for your client for a better settlement agreement because you don't want your client to be spending extra money to just fight in court, and then at the end of the day you don't have, your client still doesn't get that result that he wants. Because oftentimes, especially in this economic climate, when you go to court, you sue someone, you may get an order of the court, but you will still not get your money because your client is unable, the opponent is unable to pay. So oftentimes the pattern of recent times is that we want to settle out of court, and what we do is we go into a settlement negotiation and we just draw out the terms that are fair to both sides and get that solution for your client. So at the end of the day, a typical day in court, a typical day in the office is really solving your client's problem. Be it going to court, be it preparing for your cases, researching on the law and getting to know the facts of the case and knowing your documents well. Or on the other side of the coin is that you try and form some sort of negotiation terms with the opponent and try and solve the client's problems on that basis. So yeah, I guess it's always a different day. There's always something new to be done or something to be done. So I wouldn't be able to pinpoint what would be the typical day. It wouldn't be just a 9 to 5, go to office, clock in hours and go back. There's always something interesting to be done. Sometimes it will take a longer hours, so it wouldn't be 9 to 5. Maybe you will go back at 5 o'clock, but you will continue working on the case at home and reading on the law. So yeah, it really varies. But of course, I'm talking about the civil litigation side of things. I wouldn't be able to comment on like criminal practitioners or conveyancing lawyers or some other areas of law that I don't do. So this is limited to like civil and corporate litigation.
Oh, so you're more on the contentious side now?
Yes, that's right.
That sounds fun, yeah. From all these work, definitely from certain milestones and highlights, right? So what have been the highlights of your career then?
I would say that the most recent milestone of my career is being shortlisted as Young Lawyer of the Year and Women Lawyer of the Year by the Asian Legal Business Malaysia Awards. I didn't expect that because I'm looking at the list of shortlisted individuals and they are all very formidable lawyers in their own right. To be on that list together with them, and some of them are even far beyond my seniority. So I'm very humbled to be part of that list. I hope to serve the profession better, that I can actually offer and bring value to. So that's one of the milestones that I'm very humbled to achieve. The others that I can think of would be part of the KL Bar, especially the Young Lawyers Committee. I've actually been part of the Young Lawyers Committee since pupillage.
Oh.
So I endeavoured to join the Young Lawyers Committee as a pupil because I wanted to involve myself in what was going on with the bar and see what kind of things I can do outside of the office hours. So I started enrolling myself and being part of the activities there, and now I'm in my 6th year of practice. I'm very fortunate to be able to be given the mandate and trust to actually lead the Young Lawyers Committee. So I am the chair of the Young Lawyers Committee for now about 2 terms. Now it's about 1.5 years. So my term will end next year, February. It's been very challenging, but very rewarding at the same time. So that is one of the things that I'm very proud of, being able to serve the Young Lawyers Committee. So just a little bit of background, the KL Bar makes up about 8,000 over members. And if you take the demographic of young lawyers, if we can just identify this group to be 7 years and below. 7 years because you can get your first pupil after 7 years. So we try and identify that as a young lawyer. 7 years and below. So 7 years and below make up about 3,000 over members of the KL Bar. Those are the numbers of the young lawyers that I'm very fortunate to be able to serve and lead. I hope to bring more value to the young lawyers as we continue promoting their interests through the Young Lawyers Committee.
When speaking of this Asian Legal Business,
Asian Legal Business Award.
Asian Legal Business Award, then how do they choose the
Right, so anyone can put in a submission for the awards. So what you have to do is you have to set out the kind of work that you do and the kind of accomplishments that if you've achieved, how you have contributed to the community, how you have developed the law. So those are the criteria, I think, very briefly, if I can recall correctly. That's what it's based on.
Oh, so you can either nominate yourself or people can nominate you, is it?
Yes, that's right.